Where, guys? Where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Okay. South Africa. Penny, I can see you. Nairobi, South B. Okay. Dubai. Dubai represented. Oh, Tennessee, USA. Germany. Oh, my friend Betty is here. Mauritius. Oh, Mauritius. UK, Mombasa, Meru. All right. Nakuru. I can see Nakuru. All right. Thika Town. All right. Somebody's asking me if I've heard of Super Chat. What's that? Juja. Austria is here. Qatar is present. I can see you. All right. Oh yeah, people to send funds while I'm live. Thank you. I'll check that out. Atlanta, Georgia. I can see you. Okay. Guys, I have a strong message. Let's get 2 more people. I'm burning with something. All right. Okay. Saudi Arabia. Thank you. We have seen you. So, guys, I wanted us to discuss this concept of starting a generational shift. I want you to think of the things that you have not liked by the previous generation of your family. Many of us did not like the fact that we inherited nothing. And we are the ones to take care of parents. Okay, we are happy to have the privilege to take care of our parents, to love them, all right? But we also want a change when it comes to our turn, that we want to have a relationship with our children that is not dependent, that we are not dependent on them. We have tasted the pangs of reversed roles, where instead of inheriting, you're the one to build houses for them, put up something for them. We have seen not only financial difficulties. Somebody is asking whether it's a sin to take care of parents, and this, please be patient. Let me deliver my point. You are too impatient, you will not get it. If you have inherited financial deficit, financial difficulty, financial minus, reverse, many of us had to be paid for by government, borrow from everywhere. Hey, to go through school was a sheer struggle. Huh? Financial deficit is one thing that we must correct. If you do not like the financial setting in your family, you must be the one to get annoyed enough to do something. Too many people feel annoyed. Too many people see the problem. Too many people feel the pain. But only a few take it upon themselves to correct it. Only a few people do something about it. The second, dysfunction. So financial deficit, financial dysfunction, poverty. Many people, it was not poverty per se. The parents were working in a way, but they were always insolvent. There was no cash flow. You still had problems with the small things. You see, internally there were problems. You had decent houses, but there was no money at home. Sometimes to borrow, to get basics like fees, like shoes, like some basic requirements. The parent is a teacher. The other one is working for government somewhere, but they're on loans. They're on such huge loans, there's no money. To take somebody to the university, they had to borrow everywhere. The one thing we must be the first ones to change is the financial reversed role of the parent depending on the child. Hey, the second thing is emotional. Dysfunction, divorces, breakups. And I'm not saying divorce is always bad, but many people did not need to divorce. They married badly. The marriage was never going to work. Sometimes people divorce when they're not to blame. The person changed on you or anything. But some people, it was a reckless decision to marry a wrong person. You know your parents regretted. You know they taught you where they went wrong. The family dysfunction of having chaos, strife, stress, pain, tears, abuse. That is the other area, guys. You must look at what you inherited, what you were born into. If you are born into chaos, no love, no validation, you are called bad names. There was foul language at home, cursive language, vulgar. The way people spoke at home, the language was full of pain. The language was full of pain. The language was full of, the energy so negative. There was no love and tenderness. That is the second category we must confront. Let me repeat. The second category we must change is the emotional climate at home. Parental strife, fights, silent treatment, or coldness, distance. There was no affection. Children had to figure out when they grow up what love is. They did not see it. If that is what you inherited, that was the heritage. The second thing you must be the first one to change. The third and the last thing is spiritual blindness. Yesterday I watched, there was prayer day in America. People were posting prayers. Imagine they're posting prayers without mentioning God. I couldn't stand it. It has become almost modern, and to be enlightened, to deny God seems almost modern and sophisticated and stupidity. Can you imagine? It's prayer day, and big public figures are talking about, let us focus on our human qualities of prayer and compassion towards these hard times. If you come from a family that denied God, and there was so much spiritual blindness, there was witchcraft maybe, or there was atheism, skepticism, lesbianism, gayism, and all kind of decay and rottenness. And there was no godliness. There was no, reverence for eternity and fear of God and prayer and submission to God and calling, the eternity, about calling, about duty, about godliness. If those values were not there, my home on Sunday was the busiest because my father was selling traditional brews. So Sunday there was no going to church, except those who insisted and they went there. My mother, my sisters, but brothers, we were busy selling the brew on Sundays. we were dealing with such darkness, witchcraft, superstition, that on Sunday there was no godliness. Now, this is the solution. Solution one, if you came from a family where finances were mayhem, you must start by thinking broad. Stand this way and say, deficit ends here. Build yourself financially, not only for yourself, but for your children. And if possible, the children's children. As for me, I want to do what the Bible says, to pass my wealth to my children and my grandchildren. I would like to build a family wealth. If you inherited deficit, don't just work with your two hands. Think outside the box. The moment you decide to end suffering, God backs you off. Divinity comes to your aid. You finally, you become an agent. God hates suffering. He wants to see people emancipated, removed from slavery, from poverty. Once you decide you're the one to stop it, your prayers carry weight. God help me to build a business. Think of business. Pray, God help me to build investments. Think investments. Think of a business empire now. Other people are building enterprises. You build an empire. If you inherited deficit, don't just become an employee. Become a master in your craft. Practice it so well that you master the field, dominate the field, and you're paid well so that you can invest widely and build an empire, a kingdom, financial investments. All right. So one thing I want you to realize is this: there's such a duty to those who can see the dysfunction Remember, the moment you become the one to think differently from your family, they'll hate you. The moment you become the one to think differently, they will not understand you. You look offish, you look funny. But you must, if you can see this is a curse, this is a dysfunction, you must say, adjust your life, whether it takes you long to commit to other things. This means you may not be able to get 10 children, one after the other, because then they'll delay you. You arrange your family, you arrange everything to build a starting of a new generation financially. Are you understanding me? The way to stop poverty from passing on to the next generation through you is to build finances that are wide enough to be inherited to the next generation and the next one. Family empire. The next second thing, if you grew up in family pain, no love, it was dysfunction and strife and pain, your solution is to decide to live in a peaceful environment. Whether you are married happily or you are single happily, decide happiness is what will define your existence. Try to marry right the first time. But if you already got it wrong, correct it without shame. If you're marrying the first time and you are hearing me, this, take your time. I did not rush into marriage. Started dating at 32. I didn't care. I was decided that I'm going to marry and I'm ready to have a happy family. That does not mean perfection, but it means I have a way to pay rent, a way to pay a decent life. Decent life. I want you to, first of all, the one reason people perpetuate dysfunctional marriages is they don't prepare for marrying. They think the marrying is what will bring the fortune. They start bearing children, thinking children bring fortune. The reversed thinking. You bear your children, you get married, having in mind you wanted a happy marriage. You cannot have a happy life if you lack essentials. You lack rent, you lack food, you lack clothing, you lack fees. There will be stress at home. So you think large. This is not perfectionism. This is realism and the goal you're targeting. All right? Once you decide you wanted a happy family, you make happiness what you want. Happiness comes from peace and basic provision. All right? And remember, you marry a friend. This time you marry from true love, not pressure, not somebody pushing you. All right? The third thing you want to break is spiritual blindness and darkness and backwardness and satanism and demonic things and manifestations. Be a friend of God. Have a friendship with God that is not based on anything. You go to church, but church is not your foundation. You need to have a friendship with God the way Abraham was a friend of God. When you want to become a patriarch like Abraham, to a beginner of a new generation, it must be friendship, not religion. You go to church, yes, you attend church, you do other things, but your walk with God is that of a close friend. You understand? A friend. You study the Bible, you listen to how God is leading you, you prayer for you is a conversation with God that is regular conversation with God. This is very important. As I told you, I want you to ignore the modern trend where people think being detached from God is fashionable. There's nothing fashionable about that. God is your source. You must be connected to yourself and to your source to know your mission in life and to draw strength from the one who sent you on the mission. Be connected to yourself. Be connected to your source. All right? Let me repeat again. The first step to stop generational curses from passing through you is to recognize that you're going to build finances for a generation. You're not just raising a family now. You're raising a generation. You're not just a parent. You're a pioneer. You're not just a mother. You're a matriarch. You're not just a father. You're a patriarch. All right? You're not just starting to looking for enough money to educate your children. You're looking for money to educate a generation. Your brother's children, your sister's children, to provide gifts of dignity, to basic home. And some people's families, like your brothers and some sisters, they may not lead their families well. They may continue that line of dysfunction. But this line of yours, Abraham had brothers, but the line of Abraham followed a different path. Your branch should be different. And we're not saying you don't assist your relatives, you assist, but some people still mess up their children, their family. Even with your assistance, they never amount to anything. You may pay fees, but they still poison them with many ideologies that draw them back. All right? The second mending, the second correction, the second change of direction, the second generational shift is having a happy home. No fights, no abuse, no insults. You use modest language, professional language, love language, validation. You peace at home. You decide that here you stand, there will be peace in your family. And moving forward, your children will know how to live decently, how to live with love. All right. The third thing is spiritual. And this is not a religious opinion. I don't understand how people call God an opinion. Oh, don't impose your values. God is as real as your father. Your earthly father, your heavenly father is real. Don't let anybody drag you into that quagmire of arguing as if it's religion. God is a fact. We have many religions in the world, but God is a fact. Many of us know we have eaten from his hand from the time we were born. In him we live and move and have our being. This is not an argument, we are proposing our views or whatever. Like C.S. Lewis said, I believe in God the way I believe in the sun. Not only can I see it, but through it I can see everything else. Many of us, through God, we have seen everything in our life. Everything. So for you, don't argue about this. Simply live the reality. All right? So, folks, let us be the ones to end the pain, to end the dysfunction. Let us be the one to start afresh. In order to do that, you have to be radical. Adjust your life with fierceness and firmness. Team up with other family members who are not blood, but your family because of mindset. Your family because of how you think. You come from the soul family, or people who are doing similar missions like you. They validate you. They're doing what you're doing. They have the similar values as you. They are driven like you. These are the people who keep you going. The rest of the people who come, you share blood, you share ancestry, you share history, but they don't believe in you. Leave them alone. You don't have to argue and convince them. People, many times, pioneers are appreciated later. So let us start pioneering now. We shall be appreciated later. Thank you, folks.